No, look. With the existing,
Exactly.
hold on.
Exactly.
Shut up and listen. Don't be mad at me that I understand this better than you do. Look.
From scam companies asking for $500,000 to some of the biggest fights that the show has ever seen, here are some of the most outrageous moments in Shark Tank history. Number 1, Pavlok. Pavlok appeared in Season 7, Episode 29 of Shark Tank and was asking for $500,000 in exchange for 3.14% of his company at a $15 million valuation.
And I'm seeking $500,000 in exchange for 3.14% of my company.
3.1.
It's Pi Day!
The owner of the company, Manish Sethi, claimed the wearable device was great for breaking bad habits and used cutting-edge research. Manish told the Sharks how he came up with the idea for Pavlok and how it helped him with his ADD. He then handed the judges some samples to try, and while most of them were a bit skeptical at first, they tried the Taser Cum bracelet. As always, Mark Cuban was skeptical about the technology. Zapping yourself with electricity just to stop biting your nails seemed extreme, and the fact that you had to press the shock button yourself every time instead of being an automatic process sounded dubious.
Where it falls down for me is if I have the discipline to buzz myself, do I not have the discipline to stop?
Robert even asked Manish why he wouldn't just stop eating sugar instead of deliberately shocking himself. Manish also messed up when he told the judges that Pavlok could change the flavor of food to curb your habit.
You'll start to notice the flavor changes. Now, what's interesting about it in the
You
first...
start to notice the flavor changes.
Yeah, you
You're
do.
such a con artist.
Thanks to Manish's awful presentation, none of the judges were convinced, and Barbara even called Manish's presentation overcomplicated and exhausting. Mr. Wonderful did try to give Manish a deal, but believe it or not, Manish said he didn't want to work with Mr. Wonderful. In the end, Pavlok walked out with nothing.
And Mr. Wonderful, like, I can't work with you.
Why not?
I'm just worried that if we work
You
together...
don't like him.
I do like him as a person, but I feel like...
Number 2, Scully. Scully's CEO, Christopher Gray, stepped onto the Shark Tank stage in Season 6, Episode 20, asking for $40,000 in exchange for 15% of his company at a $260,000 valuation.
My name is Christopher Gray. I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and my company is Scully. I'm seeking $40,000 for 15% of my company.
Christopher created Scully to help out students with scholarships and make it easier for them to find and apply for scholarships. Christopher told the judges how he was inspired by his own struggles as a college student to create Scully and had won over $1.3 million worth of scholarships as a teenager. Hearing $1.3 million surprised everyone, and it's safe to say the judges were wowed.
So I'm right now a junior. I'm an undergraduate at Drexel University. I won $1.3 million in scholarships.
1.3 million?
Yes.
Really?
But Christopher wasn't done. His app had potential, and the judges saw it. Desmond asked him about how the app worked, and this is what he had to say. Scully gave students access to over $4 million worth of scholarships and was getting tons of sales. Christopher told Mr. Wonderful how Scully had gotten over 92,000 downloads in under a year and cost 99 cents.
Every student that uses the app is matched between 120 and 220 scholarships, totaling over $4 million. Scully is 99 cents in the App Store. We already sold 92,000 apps.
What? How many?
His story, combined with his drive, was enough to convince Lori, and she offered Christopher exactly what he asked for, without even hearing how the app worked. Right after Lori had made her offer, Desmond decided to step in and match it. Both the judges were now offering Christopher $40,000, and this is when things started to get heated. Seeing the judges argue, Christopher decided the best way to handle the situation was to take both Lori's and Desmond's offer, $20K each for a total of 15%. It was after Christopher left, however, that things started to get bad. The judges started arguing with each other and shouting at each other. In the end, Robert decided he would rather leave than sit and argue like that.
I don't want to say something rude
Because
to
you're
you,
not a rude
so I'm just going
guy.
to go. Okay? Because there was no need to do something
that,
like
but that's
that.
actually not
You're
you.
smarter than
You're
that.
not the guy to walk.
Number 3, Rolodoc. Richard Amini and Albert Amini came to Shark Tank in Season 5, Episode 1, seeking 50 grand for 20% of their social network for the medical community, Rolodoc. Albert claimed that Rolodoc brought social media to the medical profession. He told the judges about how Rolodoc was going to a secure online space where patients and doctors could interact, making communication a lot more smooth.
Rolodoc allows for secure email between patients, physicians, and other medical professionals. The mobile app allows for instant messaging between them.
The first question came from Lori, who rightfully asked how Rolodoc was at all useful if patients could just email their doctors. Albert mentioned social media again and again, but once Mark asked him what the social element of a peer-to-peer message app was, he was speechless.
Make money. He keeps on saying social media, social media. This is all one-to-one communication.
You're not going to let him tell me how I make money.
Because there's no chance of you making money on this.
Both Albert and Richard were confused. They had no answers, and the sharks were destroying them. In the end, Mark finally stood up, walked over to the doctor duo, and gave them the good news. They were actually at the top of a list. All of the judges backed out, and Rolodoc finally had to walk away with nothing.
Worst presentation ever. I'm out.
Oh, that was mean.
Click on one of the two videos on your screen right now. We'll catch you guys in the next one.
Look. With the existing...
Exactly.
Hold on. Watch.
Exactly.
Shut up and listen. Don't be mad at me that I understand this better than you do.